Oh, I made noise. Tim Arrowood here.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello.
So I have to keep my voice down because the baby's sleeping. So just so you know.
Well, you don't have a microphone.
I don't have my, so I have to project. All right. So, hello. We don't call out the students that come in late. There's plenty of food. So if you're not here, there's plenty of food and you're missing it. So I always like to start with, what are you guys seeing? What's in the market? Anything good, bad, indifferent?
No houses.
No houses.
Got a lot of stuff coming up for you, boys and girls.
A lot of stuff coming up. What do you mean a lot of stuff coming up, Matt?
We have a lot of listings coming up.
A lot of listings. Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
so I
Single
think-
families.
Yeah.
Good.
So they're popping up. People are holding off until spring, but some
Right.
people are wanting to get a jump now. So
Yeah.
I think from now to spring, we're just supposed to continue to see
Yeah.
a lot more hit the market.
Yeah. Cool.
If other people are spring around, spring.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you, sir? Okay. That's the white supremacist side. You know that, right?
Same thing there.
Wow. I mean, that was all the talk a few years ago. Because it was in the news. It was like, what? It's like, yeah, it was like, or, it's like, oh,
No,
made you look,
it was
made you look, see, made you look. Yeah. So-
Same thing, yeah. I mean, it's kind of a yearly thing this time of year,
Yeah.
but a little bit different this year.
Yeah.
People are, we've got several just with the team kind of that are kind of wanting to go early before the spring market
Mm-hmm.
to see if they can, get the price that they want without having to deal with the battles that are going to go on when all the competition comes back.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. How about you, Mike? What are you seeing? Golf balls?
I wish. We get some good weather.
Good weather.
And if your wife would call me to be able to go out and play, that'd be great.
She golfed yesterday. She's got a tee time for Friday, too.
My phone didn't ring.
I know it.
My phone didn't ring, okay?
So, I don't know.
Figure this out.
All right. So, I had asked if, around, any particular questions anybody had that I could address. Oh, I will say that what I'm seeing is, Paul was on vacation Friday and Monday, and over the weekend we got more leads than we had gotten in a long time. So a lot of activity, things clicking. Got 2-3 contracts over the weekend, and some of it's investment property, some of it's first-time home buyers, and all the good stuff. Isn't that right, Paige?
That's correct.
Okay, I like that. So that was pretty good. But, Mike had given me a question, and Callie had given me, as had given me a few things to address, and I thought I would. So Mike had said, what are some advantages and disadvantages of like the Rocket type lenders versus local? I was just telling Matt, I had a client this morning that's under contract, and they texted this morning and said, hey, we're going to go with Rocket because they're a better deal. I said, well, that's strange. So send me the loan estimate, and it come to find out the reason their rate was lower is they were charging them almost 3 points. So I'm like, okay, well, we can match that. That'd be great. I might make more money if I match their deal.
Does everybody know what points are?
Does that make sense when I'm talking about points, right? So,
It's like basketball.
yeah, something like, yeah. And it took Matt, the first 3 years of being in real estate to figure out what 4 years to figure out what points were. So you guys are way ahead. So that's pretty cool. But I think that generally they're you're going to find some online lender that is going to that's going to go to the bottom with rates. There actually is a website. I don't know if they're still in place, but it's called rockbottommortgage.com. So
That sounds promising.
yeah, that sounds promising. It's like, I might trust a refi to them because if it didn't work out, I go on something else. But for a purchase, I'm like, I don't know. So, and I think that's the big thing. I mean, other than, just having somebody that really cares. I mean, it's like, if I'm in a cubicle in Detroit and the deal goes sideways, it's like, I just want to answer that phone and I'll just do something else. But I got to live here, right? I got to look at you. Next time I bring food, I got to look at all your eyes and say, this is what happened. So, And we're not perfect by any stretch, but making just figuring out ways to make stuff happen, I think is a plus. They're not buying you lunch, so not that really is worth a lot. Kelly had asked, what are some for us? What are some good and bad referrals for us? There are really no bad referrals. I mean, we yeah, it wasn't a challenge. It wasn't a challenge. I mean, we don't do land, so I mean, we'd be glad to help somebody connect with somebody with land, because we're not just going to say we don't do land. It's like, oh, we don't do land, but here's some names. Would you like for me to have one of them give you a call? So I think that we're trying to figure out a way to get the deal closed. If we can close it with us, that's how we make money. But if we can't, we realize it's your paycheck. So we really, I mean, if you know it's bad. Well, we got one yesterday. I don't know how he got a hold of us, but he had been, evidently he'd just been rude to him. And so he comes to the office, older fella, and he had COPD so bad, he stepped up the few steps into our office, and he was like 2 minutes, he just sat there and was trying to get his breath. Still smoking, right? Still smelled like a chimney. So, and everybody else, he'd been a couple of different places, and somebody just said, we can't help you leave, kind of stuff. And so, I'm like, that's just not the way I work. So, but I realized that I really couldn't help him. But I thought maybe that there's Eastern Aid has got that, they help some people with different things. But one of the things they can do, that USDA Direct loan, which is like 33 years and a really low interest rate. And so, so while he was there, I picked up the phone, called them, and they didn't answer, but I left a message, please call Dwight back, here's his number, this is who I am, trying to help him. And at least he left feeling like a person, and then I got the Febreze out, because the place, it was just stale smoke. Oh man, it was just, he wasn't smoking in the office, it just reeked.
The store was going so good.
Yeah. So, anyway.
That's how it is when Karen comes in and wants just constant smoker.
That
So-
part-time job she's got.
So, she also said, what are some loans that we're seeing? All the standard stuff, conventional FHA, VA, but we've gotten plugged in a bit more with investors, and so those DSCR loans,
Closing in.
no, yeah. I went to the meetup. I tell you, I totally went to that meetup, and it was actually pretty good. It was a good. What's the name of it? Anyway, there's a
Tennessee real estate investors and landlords.
yeah meetup at
Food City.
Food City. Was big turnout, probably 50 people there, so it was pretty cool. And the guy that spoke last was from Morristown, and he was talking about some creative financing things that obviously didn't have to do with banks. All the banker people were in there like, oh, really? You're gonna do that?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, not that it's not taking anything away from us. It's just more of like subject to, and like, ooh. But I did.
Risky.
I was talking to somebody on the subject to thing, that because the idea with subject to is that we're afraid that there's going to be a due on sale clause. And I talked to another agent this past weekend, and he said, what he does is he creates an LLC with the name of the address on it. And so when it transfers, it doesn't throw a flag up. I was like, well, that makes sense, right? So, because the whole idea is that the lender is going to see that something's changed, and it's like, well, that's just like 123 Main Street LLC. Like, okay, well, that makes sense. So it wasn't foolproof by any stretch, but it was a way to help with that. So I thought that was an interesting move. But we're seeing all kinds of different things, and we're doing, I've said before, we're doing manufactured homes, new construction, land home packages, and I really, if you haven't gotten over to see the folks at America's Home Place, I'm really impressed with them. I mean, from a building standpoint, primarily because they've got the process down, and they'll give you a firm price to do a build. And that, I don't know, Lincoln, if you're building for somebody, you're probably going to do cost plus, right?
Plus 15.
Yeah. And I don't care how far you go. As long as you got the money, I'll keep working for you. Whereas when we're doing a VA 100% financing or an FHA with 3.5% down, it's pretty important that there's probably going to be on a VA, we got a 5% contingency that's built in, but you can blow through 5% pretty quick, if you're not paying attention. And so they're just one of the few that have a real, that have a nice clean box to work with. And There is something, there is an open house that they're doing on an under construction house that's next weekend, something like that. So if you were wanting to go, but they will protect you also on commission. So I think that's, as long as you get there first and say, fill out one of those referral forms, then they'll pay you the commission, and it doesn't have to be completed. They'll pay you once they commence on the, after the grading is done, and once they put the foundation in, they'll pay commissions.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you don't have to wait for a full year to get paid. Maybe it's 3 months to get paid or something like that. So that's pretty cool. Let's see, she was asking about the average contract to close right now. We're still good with 30 days. You know, we're seeing different things. It depends, like we've got a renovation loan right now that we're doing that it's easy for us to do it in 30 days, but you know, we said 40 to 45 to 60 because of just time to get a contractor to show up, and they're on their third contractor. So it makes sense. And she was also asking about appraisals meeting the purchase price, and we haven't seen any challenges, you know, with any of our stuff. Have you all? Getting the appraisals to come in? Cool. So, what was I gonna say? Oh, so I've talked about this before, but I just did a class yesterday in Abingdon on the renovation loans, and I'll be brief, but this is a little something I think that we've gone over before, but there's a little bit more detail. You know, I'm next. You just tell me.
That's fair.
You can't fit on her lap.
Ooh, that was, yeah. I'm not surprised, Mike. I'm not surprised. Oh, my goodness. All right, so the idea with this, you know, we've talked about renovation before, but the idea is that we need to make some inventory. You know, everybody said there's no inventory. So the thing there's three things that I was going to point out. You know, there's, you know, to help you as agents, you know, one is being, you know, to help with a listing that's rough. The second one is to help with, you know, to increase some inventory for somebody that is looking in a specific area. There's just not enough inventory. And the third one is how to fix a deal if you're in the middle of it. So the first one is rough listing example, and you've probably seen this, but this is, you can probably guess who the listing agent is on this, but it's you know, he's like all about making sure, what is this? He's the, full-time dad, full-time realtor. So if you didn't see
Lincoln's
that,
best friend.
Lincoln's best friend. But he's,
I'm the number one agent in Hawkins County.
numbers don't lie.
Hey, I'm actually a full-time realtor, full-time daddy.
Yeah, I know it. The numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
So,
So
this is recording, so hi. Okay, so, but you can see that he's pointing out here that, hey, dum-dum, I will not accept a VA offer. I will not accept an FHA offer. This is as is, and try to say how many times did you do that? Well, the listing then is limited to people with cash that are cash buyers. Maybe conventional, but it's limited to cash buyers. So as a listing agent, if you're able to, you know, you could change some of the wording and say, well, you know, you could note only FHA 203K renovation offers accepted, or, you know, something like that. And the whole idea is to just increase the pool of potential buyers for that. So that's the reason for that one. So that's the rough listing example.
That's
Then-
why we changed the wording from fixer upper to lots of potential.
Lots of potential, yeah. Yeah.
Good bones.
Good bones. Things, all things I've been called in my life, you know, and it's got potential. Got good bones, yeah. So the picky buyer example here is like, in this case, this is one that I've got going on right now. The borrower wanted to find, you know, they wanted 10 acres. Mike, you all right? So, but he wanted 10 acres in a house for under 200,000, right? How many properties are out there that 10 acres in a 1,200 square foot house that's updated? Probably not many. So what they ended up finding was a place that was originally started at 185, then it was listed for 150, and then they got it for 130. And so the only way it's going to work is if there's a renovation loan. So they thought that they could get it fixed for 30. I didn't think so. I think it needs a roof. But even if they spend 80 on it to have 10 acres and I think it's about a 1,200 square foot house that's updated, new roof, you know, new mechanicals and those kind of things, heat pump. You know, that place, I was told that near that property there's a single wide or maybe a double wide that was similar location and smaller acreage that they were asking like $350 for. So to have a stick-built home that's been updated, you know, for under 200, you know, so, you know, the idea is that the buyer's agent wouldn't, she'd just been wasting her time showing these people property. You know, they would never have found what they wanted. You know, they may have finally settled for something because they needed to have a place to live. But, but, you know, so the idea is that you would be able to help somebody find something. And you can see in these pictures, right? So that looks pretty rough on the outside. On the inside, it's a little bit better. But the good thing is he's a landscape contractor. So it's like the outside, I'm done, right? I don't have to worry about that. That'll make such a big difference just having the outside cleaned up. So, so let me see what's next here. So, rough lifting. Now, there was one more here. Oh, here we go. So, and the save the deal where, you know, you got an FHA loan or conventional, and you find out that, you know, there's a foundation issue or there's just something that the deal's dead unless we figure out how to fix this heat pump or how to do that. Sometimes you can do you know, if the seller has the money, they just fix it. But what if it's in the state? Like, we don't have any money, it's as is, so, and it needs a heat pump or it needs a roof or it needs those monies spent. You know, sometimes you might be able to finagle a contractor to do the work and then they're gonna get paid when it closes, but what happens if the buyer, you know, loses their job day before closing? That contractor is risking, so that may not be very palatable for them. So being able to take a deal that you've got and fix it. Now, they may have fallen in love with the place, they like the location, but we really got to get this thing working. Now, the problem is it doesn't work with down payment assistance programs like THDA, so it would have to be a full-blown FHA or something like that. So, and obviously, you know, that the seller, even if they give them a price cut, it doesn't help them, right? Because they don't have any money to fix it. So you could, because maybe there's some extra fees that would go along with a renovation loan. Well, they could probably give them a little bit, either lower the price or provide them with some additional seller pay closing costs. That way they could cover some of those fees and minimize their out of pocket. So, so those are the big three examples. Now this one is interesting because I was looking at, I don't know the MLS, but I happen to have, I might be able to look at the MLS from time to time. So this is a screen that I saw that you could check the property condition. I checked property condition below average and poor and fixer. I didn't know those were options. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I picked those. And then I drew a circle and I want to show me all the properties in that area. And so I didn't realize that feature was there, which is kind of cool. So if you're helping somebody looking at property, you're probably saying, I don't want to show them anything that's not in average or better condition, right? So you've eliminated, I don't know how you guys set it up in the searches, but you may be missing some things. And so when I did that, I found this property, right? This property right here that says, with a little, you know, with a little elbow grease, you know, that's kind of like fixer, like with a little elbow grease, this could be something. Well, I looked at it and I realized this is an amazing house. But what they've done is they've gutted it, and you got sheetrock, and no paint, and you know, no kitchen. They pulled everything out of there, and so you know they're asking under $500 for it. And who's going to be able to buy that, right? It's going to be the rare buyer that's going to be able to walk in and fix that, because you just can't get traditional financing at all, because you just can't live in it. Right? There's no kitchen. There's, you know, everything's torn up. So if you were to do that, you know, you could. What are they asking? I think I'm going to cut that off. But it was like $498 or something like that. But it's, you know, it's total square feet, 6,200 square feet. You know, Lincoln, maybe you should buy it, fix it, sell it. I mean, seriously. And I believe after I printed this, it's an agent owned. They just moved over to Wilson Agency. I'm not sure.
Does the couch get made?
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if that was superimposed on there if I were to guess. So
Virtual staging.
yeah. So, but I'm looking at this. I mean, the deck is amazing.
Feel a lot better.
And now I don't know about the acreage and all that stuff. I just don't see it. But it was built in '98, and yeah, maybe you need 100 to finish it out. But you know, but it's like there's an opportunity that you could put 100 in it. And how much would a 6,000 square foot house in or on Brookfield Drive? I mean, obviously you guys do the after repaired value, what the comps would be. Like, you know, how much can you put in it and then, you know, call it a flip. So, but I didn't realize, you know, that, because I'm not in the MLS like that, I thought that was an interesting way of, you know, obviously somebody moving in from out of town, they want a place they want to move into, you know, but if somebody's got a little bit of time, you know, there might be a deal out there for them. So what do you think about them apples, Matt?
I like it.
You like that? So, how about you, Lincoln? Huh? What? What do you think?
I'm looking at the house.
Oh, you are? Cool.
It's already sold.
Oh, it is? It's closed? It's under contract?
Huh?
It says canceled.
I just looked up, so close.
He told me he was changing brokerages, and so he was coming back on. So I don't know.
Okay.
I don't really know.
2022.
Listed it on the 26th and canceled on the 28th.
Is that right? Okay.
Like, something's wrong.
Yeah. So that's all I got. I mean, so there was a lot of interest. You know, we did a class at our office on renovation loans. I did one yesterday in Abingdon at an office, and it was an interesting amount of interest, surprising amount of interest in the product. Now, it's just a tool in your toolbox. It's not something you use all the time, but it's like, oh, I heard about that. You know, maybe that's something we can salvage this deal, or, you know, I keep thinking about somebody that's like, I've got to be in the school district, right? And so you set up the search, and there's just nothing coming on the market that is anywhere near what they need. So, I mean, you can do an addition, you can add a garage, you could remodel the place, you can do all those things with the renovation loans that might say, well, you know, I want to be within walking distance of Dobbins Bend. Well, good luck, right? Somebody's got to die before you can get that. Well, you know, absolutely, yeah. I mean, that could be arranged, but so I think it's a good tool. So that's all I got. You guys got any questions for me?
Nope.
All right, I'm gonna hit finish.